What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Is your host David, and I'm here with another video for the Top Bunk Sports podcast. And we're gonna have a good conversation today, not too long, but it's been a while since I've dropped a video. Just wanted to see how this couple of games played out, and it obviously hasn't played out to our benefits. This team is on a 7-game losing streak. They just got swept back to back. They have lost 11 out of 12. They are 5.5 games back from Philly. And they technically hold a 2-game lead in the third wild card, but they're clinging to that. Um, and I just wanted to give my perspective and my opinion on what is really happening. I mean, dude, here's the thing, and before I give my opinion on everything, just make sure you guys go like the video, share it, subscribe, and subscribe to the channel. As you know, we keep trying to grow, we keep trying to do big and better things. Um, my, I, I, I don't know, man. It's very difficult to say what is really wrong with this team. Rightfully so, there are fans that are crashing out. There are fans that want Lindor to be benched. There are fans that can't stand the pitching rotation. There are fans that want Carlos Mendoza fired. There are fans that want David Stearns gone. You know what I'm saying? There are fans that want David Stearns gone, and they want Steve Cohen to go out there and get a GM. You have the right to go ahead and fan the way you want to fan, right? You have the right to go ahead and complain. You have the right to do all that. And the Mets are giving us a reason to. The Mets are giving us a reason to. And like I said, it hasn't been pretty, but the only way that this could change is through consistency. And funny enough, the reason why I don't have my background and everything, I'm on a new software, on a new thing. So it's gonna be a regular thing, nothing, no background, no nothing for today. But originally, I was gonna name this video "Inconsistent Mets," but I feel like for so long within this year, I've been saying that with it for this team. I said that after we played our first Subway Series in Yankee Stadium, that we went straight to Boston. When we lost 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, and then we lost 2 out of 3 against Boston, I said this team is very, very inconsistent. And the inconsistencies are showing within the entire team itself. It's not the pitching rotation. It's not, it's, well, it is the pitching rotation, excuse me, but it's not just them. It's not just the starting lineup. It's the pitchers. It's the guys in the lineup. It's our coaches. I've been somebody, shout out to my guys, Chris, Amish, and AP from the Seven Express podcast. Make sure you guys go follow them and show them love. I've been very vocal that the Mets need to go for Eric Chavez's job and Jeremy Barnes' job. Mainly Eric Chavez because in 2023, when everybody wanted Jeremy Barnes gone and Eric Chavez to stay, right? There were certain articles where players were crediting Eric Chavez. Now it's the other way around. Certain players like Jeremy Barnes, but I don't feel like the connection between those two is helping this team. I've said it many times when we were doing our lives with the Southern Express podcast. As a hitting coach, I'm there to evaluate and help my hitters to the best of my ability as a coach and what I know within the experience. If the inconsistencies on offense keep happening, are you being successful at your job? And I understand that there are people going to be like, well, Top, you got to understand Eric Chavez is not going up to the plate and batting for these guys. I completely understand that. But when we hire these coaches, it's to look at the pros and the cons of each batter, to look at what he's doing right and what he's doing wrong. So then when you can take what he's doing wrong within his approach at the plate, you can go and fix that. They see it from the dugout when they're standing next to Mendoza at the on the ledge, and they're seeing it through iPad. So they got two different ways to look at this to help the batters get the consistency that they need at the plate. Problem is, we haven't seen that. We have not seen that. And that's my problem with them. Is if a certain method, I don't care trying to help them with or that it's analytics. At the end of the day, you're not doing anything to fix it, or if what you're telling them is not helping, you need to go. You need to go. You can't. This cannot be something where you're gonna be, you know, giving credit for certain things that that you're not helping with, right? If that makes any sense. Like, look at this article that came out a couple months ago. Francisco Lindor basically was calling Eric Chavez out to do his fucking job. And Francisco Lindor has been very, very vocal this year in terms of frustration and in terms of that article. You saw yesterday's game. Y'all saw yesterday's game. Lindor makes an error after the inning is over. He's slapping his glove. You saw it because right now this team looks like they're not playing together. And as a fan base, I can understand that. I can understand the frustration of these fans that are looking at it from from a perspective of, yo, you guys said that you'll do anything to win. You guys said that, you'll be aggressive, and you guys are gonna put the right pieces here to make sure that we have the team to compete with the Dodgers. Here's the problem. They basically said, we're gonna stick to last year's team, eliminate Jose Iglesias. Let's go get a Juan Soto, which is obviously, you know, the biggest free agent signing in the fucking MLB, right? But that's all you added. That is all you added. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no other impact back on this team that you could trust, you could look at, and you can say, yeah, these two guys are gonna create a spark within this lineup. Juan Soto, he's been hitting consistently as of late, but he himself has gone through a struggle with us. It hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been pretty. Francisco Lindor, right? Francisco Lindor, he's been awful. I mean, golly, the brother can't find the fastball to hit. He's swinging outside. He's swinging outside of the strike zone, swinging high pitches. It's like this isn't the Francisco, and the errors. But I'm saying that this isn't the Francisco Lindor that we know, that we love, right? Brandon Nimmo is a strikeout machine. Can't do nothing right now. So there's a lot of flaws within his offense, and you had to wonder, can this offense with Juan Soto kind of duplicate what they did last year? And we were hoping that in the second half, and then all of a sudden, boom, shit starts dropping. Your first series against the Reds after the All-Star break, you lose the series. You lose 2 out of 3. That's unacceptable. I'm just being honest. This roster and this team was built based off you guys saying we're gonna be aggressive to go to the playoffs. We want to build this team to play against the Dodgers. And right now, I'm not so confident that that's what this team is going to do. Honestly, I'm not, because you got the inconsistencies of the offense. Our starting rotation from Kodai Senga, San Manaya, um, Kodai Senga, Shamanaya. You also got yeah, this kid. You also got fucking David Peterson, right? You got David Peterson, who's been like the only consistent guy on this fucking team, who's been able to give you length and help this rotation out. Clay Holmes is another one that when you put him next to Kodai Senga and Shamanaya, it he struggles. He struggles with the walks. He gives up big hits at certain times, but he can never get past 5. It's just one of those things where you're like, dude, what the hell is going on? None of our starters can go more than 5. and that puts a strain on the bullpen. That puts a strain on the entire guys that are in that pen that need to come in here in the sixth inning. And now it's like you can't have a long game where a pitcher could go seven and all you got to do is bring in a guy for the eighth and ninth. We don't have that. You don't have that. And that was one of the questions where I think David Stearns, where we questioned David Stearns. That was one of the main things that we questioned David Stearns on. Is he gonna get another arm for this rotation? Because this rotation isn't working. And it got worse when Griffin Canning went down. A guy that at least could have gone six on most nights, and that's all you're asking for. But now you're in a situation where you don't have Griffin Canning because of the injury. Now you got to go into your rotation and hope and pray that these guys can give you more than five, and it hasn't happened. So you know a lot of flaws within this team. And to the people that think Carlos Mendoza has lost this group, I don't think he has. I think they love him. I think they respect him. I think they want to play for him. I think not everything, and this is where, because there's a lot of people that say, well, I'm tired of yeah, we'll bounce back, we have to be better. I get that. I get that. I'm not even gonna argue that. However, not everything needs to be public. And if you think it does, then I don't know if you've been I don't know if you've been on a team where, it's just your guys. It's nobody else, it's no outsiders, it's nothing like that. It's just you and the players and the coach. That's it. Nobody else, no parents, no family, nothing. Just you, your players, and everybody else that's in that locker room. Maybe Carlos Mendoza is actually having a conversation with these guys behind the scenes. Nobody knows. And that's where I'm looking at it. Yes, does Carlos Mendoza need some type of blame? I absolutely think he does. His game decision managing has been horrible this year, especially with the pen. The game two against Milwaukee last weekend. Ain't no way you could tell me that Ryan Stanek should have been in that game that day over Ryan Halsley. Hell no. Now, granted, Ryan Halsley for the last two games that he's been up there hasn't been doing good. He hasn't, but he's still electrifying. He still got a really, really, really good arm, one of the best reliever arms in the league right now. So in terms of his game making decisions, I gotta hold him accountable on that 100%. And I can also see why, like I said, why people are upset that he's always saying the same thing after every loss. We gotta be better. Yes, of course we do gotta be better, brother. But you're not helping to the cause of your game time decisions costing you. You know what I'm saying? Like when again, we'll go back to the Stanek point. When he goes in there, he puts Stanek over Halsley, and then Stanek puts on two guys on base, and then you take him out, and then you bring in right. You're bringing in another reliever in a pressure situation, and that's the frustrating part because he's done it so many times this year. It's like you don't learn from your mistakes. You don't. The analytics show you. If for those of you that believe in the analytics, they show you. They show you. So, it's a tough decision for me. I'm definitely disappointed. I think it's more on the players than it is the manager. But people have their thoughts, people have their opinions, and who am I to fucking go ahead and try to argue it? But the fact is the fact. The fact is the fact. Sorry, guys, I had a little bit of a connection issue, but like I was saying, before we get to the game tomorrow we have a three-game series against the Atlanta Braves where we play three of them at Citi Field. So I wanted to do this video um, on the day off today, which is August 11th, and just kind of give my thoughts on the seven-game losing streak. You know, us losing 12 out of 13, us, getting swept by Milwaukee, back-to-back sweeps, and getting walked off like that. That it was nasty. It was disgusting, especially because we were up 5-0 at one point. Then they cut it down to a 5-3 lead. You know what I'm saying? Then we scored our sixth run thanks to Pete Double, and it was 6-3. Then they tied it. And then the next inning, they walked it off. And it just, right now, it's not this team isn't gelling. And there's something on this team. I don't know if it's bad voodoo. I don't know if it's somebody's just it's something. Somebody's not clicking with another person. If it's I don't know what it is. I really don't. But it has to wake up. And you guys know me. I'm not somebody that is gonna go out there and fucking be like, fuck this team. Mendoza should be fired. Yo, this team is fucking horrible. We know that they're trash. But I also think people tend to go on Twitter and try to do that for engagement. I think people tend to do that for the entertainment factor. People tend to look at that in looking for attention, and I'm just not that. I also don't want to be a company boy and try to, give them as excuses because I'm not. They fucking suck. Everybody sucks. From Lindor to fucking Nimmo. Soto's been hitting the ball as of late. So has Pete. But as a team, we fucking suck. If I ask you right now, do you trust this starting rotation going into the playoffs? And you tell me no, I would be right there with you. I don't trust this rotation. If my starting pitchers can't give me more than five on every on every fifth day that they start, how is that gonna help my team? And now that we're seeing parts of the bullpen kind of implode little by little, and it's not obviously it hasn't been every game, but still. So, there's enough blame to go around. Whether you want to blame Mendoza for his game decisions, whether you want to blame David Stearns, which I do put blame on David Stearns as well, because they didn't add a strong arm to this bullpen. Now, granted, Griffin Canning was doing well before he got hurt. David Peterson has done well. But you can't justify signing Frankie Montas to a 2-year, $34 million deal when he's never been good, number one. He's always hurt, number two. And that was your obvious Sevy replacement after Sevy had a nice comeback year. I get it. You didn't want to pay him the 63 mil that the fucking Athletics gave to him. I get that. But at the end of the day, that was more worth it than Frankie fucking Montas. So that's a decision that David Stearns has to live with. To this day, nobody knows why he went with that decision. Other than that, I got no other reason to complain for the guy except for the trade deadline. Maybe he could have added another arm to the starting rotation that was needed, somebody that could give this fucking rotation length and save the bullpen. He did what he said he was going to do at the same time. He said, hey, we're looking into this deadline to add a center fielder, which they did in Cedric Mullins. Maybe not the best choice, but again, they were trying to help the center field position defensively and somebody that could bring a little bit of offense. Cedric Mullins hasn't provided the offense part, but he looks pretty good out there in center field. They said they were gonna add to the bullpen. They got Ryan Housley and they got Trevor Rogers, two elite arms. So again, this is a guy that when he says something that they're gonna do, they do it. He does it. Same time, that doesn't give him a pass for certain decisions that he has made so far. You can blame it on Mendoza. Like I said before, game time decisions. Putting certain guys in the bullpen, like you saw on Saturday, putting Stanek in that situation instead of just bringing in Ryan Hosley, knowing that Stanek has a good chance of putting runners in scoring position, and he did that. So again, a lot of things for them to fix. I just want to go over some stats before I end it. Again, this, like I told you guys, this was going to be a small, quick video. Just wanted to give my thoughts on what I thought was wrong with this team. Like I said, in terms of where we're at right now, if you look at the standings, like I said, the Mets are 5-5, 5.5 games back from the Philadelphia Phillies for first place in the NL East. Then you look at where they're at in the wild card. They obviously are. Matter of fact, they are a game back. No, excuse me. No, no, excuse me. They got the third wild card. Excuse me. They got the third wild card as of right now, and they literally are behind in front of, excuse me, they are in front of the Cincinnati Reds 1.5 game up. It can get dicey, ladies and gentlemen. It can get very, very dicey. Very dicey. So gotta figure it out, man. Gotta figure it out. Again, 18 and 31 since June 13th. Not pretty, man. Not pretty. And we could go on about stats. We could go on about where this team is at right now, and who's in particularly struggling, and who's doing well. It's a team game. It's a team game. Everybody has to click in order for this shit to work. Everybody has to click. So when Lindor is not clicking, based off knowing that this team goes wherever Lindor goes, you know this team is gonna fucking flunk because of that. I need my shortstop to get hot, man. And I know a lot of people were sad to see the view of him slamming his glove on the bench after he made that error on Saturday. I was too, but I kind of liked it because we finally saw somebody come. And again, I always say that not everything needs to be put on social media or censored to the media, but I kind of like that they showed that because at least somebody is showing frustration. So, you know, it, it just they got to change it, man. This team is way too good to play like this, and we know that. That's why this whole thing is frustrating because this team has shown that they can be better than what they're showing right now, and they have a chance to win the division. This team is not wild card, you know, goers. They're a division team capable of winning a division. And I don't wanna see this team in the wild card. Listen, a playoff is a playoff. Okay, cool. I still don't want to see a team in the play. I have them projected to win 94 games and take the division. I want to see that. And it starts now. Forget about the road trip that you had in Milwaukee. Come back home, clean slate against a division opponent in Atlanta that's probably looking to beat you up no matter where they're at, because they're not going nowhere, but they still want to beat you up because of who you are. Use that as motivation. Take 2 out of 3. Then you stay home to play three and on this weekend against the Seattle Mariners. They're red hot right now. Cool them off and show everybody that you got their back. And although we gotta pray for Philly to lose, so that lead, that 5.5 game lead that they have up on us, can shrink, we gotta play our baseball. We can't worry about that. We have to play our baseball and what we know we can do. Because this team has a winning record for a reason, but they're not playing like it. So within this offense, Mendoza's trying different things to see what works and what doesn't work. What doesn't make sense to me, though, what I'll say is this about Mendoza is, for example, Starling Marte was in the game on Friday and was in the game on Saturday, and on Friday and Saturday had a home run. Yet You sit him down Sunday and you put Brandon Nimmo to bat third, where Brandon Nimmo hasn't done shit but strike out all series. Yet the guy, Starling Marte, has 2 games where he gets 2 hits, and you automatically sit him down to play Brandon Nimmo, who's struggling the most right now, besides Lindor. How does that make sense? So Mendy's got to be better. Mendy's got to be better. And like I said, I'm not gonna go into the stats. I'm not gonna go into what this team, where they're at right now, where they're ranked. I don't need to do that. Why? Because this is straight from the heart. This is my emotions. This is my feelings, and this is what I think this team is going through, and what I think they should do. What I think they got to figure out within this lineup, within this offense, consistency. Everybody's got to follow a rhythm. Can't follow that, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to hit the way you want to hit. And they're very good to be playing like this. Rotation, the rotation has to figure out not to put themselves in not to in tougher situations and not shoot themselves in the foot. Trust your pitchers. Don't second guess them. These pitchers need to start going a little bit longer so this bullpen doesn't feel taxed all the time, because then that's really going to fuck up your team. And Mendoza has to be better with game time decisions. What I saw Saturday, for example, like I said about the standing situation, that can't happen ever again. And I hope David Stearns is taking notes about this situation with this rotation and their lack of consistency, and with this whole Frankie Montas bullshit. Frankie Montas should not even be on this team right now because of how bad he is. I'll leave it at that. Listen, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the day off so far. Thank God we need it. I hope this day off is clearing all of our guys' head, so that way they're fresh and they're home, they're comfortable. They're playing a division rival in the Atlanta Braves for 3, where they can try to see if they could gain some momentum that we have not seen for so long. And hopefully our boys can be back and try to regain a division and keep the record up to where we can still see them in the playoffs and maybe get something out of them on a positive note. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure you go subscribe to my channel, and make sure you guys support the page. I will check you guys on the next video. Peace.